The holding chamber smelled of ozone and something faintly metallic, like blood left too long in the sun. Mike stood in the center of a circular platform, his wrists bound in a soft restraint that hummed faintly against his skin. Not painful, just present, a constant reminder that he was not in control here. Across from him, behind a wall of shimmering blue containment light, stood two figures he recognized instantly. Emma and her twin sister, Ellie. They looked terrified. Emma's eyes met his, wide and glassy, her lips trembling around words she didn't dare speak. Ellie stood a step behind her, hands clenched into fists, jaw tight, refusing to let the fear show the same way. Above them, suspended in a cradle of pulsing light, floated the Overseer, a Caliph magistrate, one of the ruling caste of the Caliph Dominion. Its body was long and segmented, plated in iridescent chitin that shifted color with its moods, currently a deep, contemplative violet. 6 eyes blinked independently, studying Mike the way a scientist studies a specimen twitching under a microscope. "Human, Michael," the magistrate said, its voice a synthesized approximation of warmth that failed to mask the coldness beneath. "You have been selected for a most illuminating experiment. We have observed your species for 3 of your generations now, and there remains one variable we cannot model: your capacity for choice under emotional duress." "What do you want?" Mike said. His voice came out steadier than he expected. "A simple test." The magistrate's eyes rotated toward the two sisters. "Before you stand Emma and Ellie. Sisters, bonded by blood, by shared history, by whatever your species calls love. You will choose one. She will be released, unharmed, returned to your colony ship. The other," the magistrate paused, letting the silence stretch like a blade being drawn slowly from its sheath, "will be terminated. Immediately. Painlessly, if that comforts you. But terminated nonetheless." Emma made a small, broken sound. Ellie grabbed her sister's hand, knuckles white. "Why?" Mike asked flatly. "Because your species claims a unique moral architecture. You speak of love as something unconditional, and yet your own philosophers spent millennia debating the ethics of the trolley, the lifeboat, the burning building with 2 children and 1 door. We wish to see whether your unconditional love survives contact with a conditional universe. Choose, Michael. You have 90 of your seconds." A countdown bloomed in the air above the containment field, crimson numerals ticking downward from 90. Mike didn't look at the numbers. He looked at Emma, then at Ellie. 2 faces that had grown up together, fought over the same toys, split the same birthday cake, held each other through nights when their parents' ship had drifted through debris fields that groaned like dying whales. He had known them both for 4 years now, since the colony reformed after the Caliph first made contact. He loved them both, not the same way, not in the same shape, but love wasn't supposed to come with a shape you could measure. 70 seconds. "You've built this whole test wrong," Mike said. The magistrate's eyes stilled. "Explain." "You're assuming love is a resource, something with a fixed quantity that gets split when you divide it between 2 people. That's not how it works. That's not how any of it works." He took a step forward, and the restraint on his wrists tightened in warning. But he kept walking until he stood right at the edge of the containment field, close enough that his breath fogged faintly against the blue light. "You want to know what makes humans different? Fine. I'll show you. But not the way you think." 60 seconds. "Choose, Michael," the magistrate said, and for the first time there was an edge beneath the synthesized calm, something almost like impatience, almost like the beginning of concern that its experiment was slipping off its rails. "I choose neither," Mike said. The chamber went silent except for the ticking numerals. 50 seconds. 45. "That is not a valid response within the parameters of the—" "I don't care about your parameters." Mike's voice rose, carrying an anger he'd been holding at bay since he first saw Emma's face streaked with fear. "You want to test whether I'll sacrifice one to save the other, like that proves something about my moral architecture. But that's not a test of love. That's a test of whether I'll do your violence for you. And I won't. If one of them dies in the next 40 seconds, it's not because I chose it. It's because you murdered her, and I refuse to be your hands." 30 seconds. Emma's breath hitched. Ellie's fingers dug into her sister's palm. "You will both lose, then," the magistrate said, and something in its voice cracked. Not sympathy, but confusion, the sound of a mind encountering data it had no model for. "Maybe," Mike said. Or maybe you'll learn something you didn't expect. Humans don't ration love out like water in a desert. We don't calculate who deserves to live based on some elegant little dilemma. When it comes down to it, we'd rather burn the whole system down than let you make us complicit in your cruelty. That's the variable you couldn't model, magistrate. Not the shape of our love, the shape of our refusal. 20 seconds. The magistrate's plating flared a violent shade of crimson, then, unexpectedly, faded to a pale, uncertain gray, a color Mike had never seen a caliph wear before. 15 seconds. Human Emma. Human Ellie. The magistrate said abruptly, its voice tight. Confirm, if Michael refuses to select, do either of you wish to volunteer in his place? No. Ellie said immediately, stepping in front of her sister, chin raised. Kill us both, then. We're not going to make this easy for you either. Emma, trembling, straightened beside her sister and took her hand again. Same, she whispered, though her voice shook. 10 seconds. The countdown reached 5, 4, 3. The magistrate's claw hand slammed down on a console, and the crimson numerals vanished. The containment field dropped with a soft chime, and Emma and Ellie stumbled forward, catching each other before either one could fall. Explain your malfunction, Mike said, still breathing hard, adrenaline roaring through him now that the countdown had died. There is no malfunction, the magistrate said, though its color had not returned to its earlier violet calm. It cycled through gray, then a strange, unsteady gold. The experiment has concluded. Parameters were exceeded. You mean I broke your test? You refused the premise of the test entirely, the magistrate said, and something almost like respect threaded through the synthetic voice now. 3 prior human subjects made a selection. Reluctantly. With grief, yes, but they chose. You are the first to reject the frame itself, to offer defiance as an alternative to obedience, and to inspire the same defiance in your bonded companions within moments. This was not anticipated. Mike moved past the magistrate's hovering cradle without waiting for permission, crossing to where Emma and Ellie stood clutching each other. He pulled them both into his arms, and for a moment none of them said anything at all, just breathed, together, alive. You good, he murmured. You could have just picked one of us, Emma said into his shoulder, half a laugh, half a sob. Would have been easier. Easier isn't the point, Mike said. Never was. Behind them, the magistrate hovered in silence, its plating slowly shifting back toward violet, though a faint, uncertain shimmer of gold remained at its edges, the color, perhaps, of a mind that had just learned it did not understand humanity nearly as well as it believed. Record for the Dominion Archive, the magistrate finally said, quiet, almost to itself. Subject, human Michael. Conclusion, unconditional does not mean measurable. It means absolute. Recommend, reclassification of species, threat parameters. Mike didn't hear the last part. He was too busy holding on to both sisters, feeling their hearts hammering against his. Feeling, more than anything, that whatever cruel game the universe wanted to play with humanity, it would find them stubborn, defiant, and entirely unwilling to let anyone choose which of their own deserved to live. That, more than anything, was the only test that mattered.